having the stream running as well to mute either that or Roll20. Ideally, mute the Twitch. I might put some music on via Roll20. Roll20 is a bit funny about streaming music, so if there is music on the Roll20, it won't come up on the VOD, and I'll probably forget to do the music because I have lots of things to do at the same time. But we shall see.
That happens with my session. We
Amazing.
always just plan for music and forget.
Yeah, it's live. Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone.
Bugger.
Straight away.
I'm gonna dump this link everywhere.
Yeah,
first of
you
all.
go on.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fourspires Red. Fourspires is a city on the continent of Pathco. As you can see on the continent map here, it is to the east of Riverton and Scumport, where our adventures with Pathco usually take place, on the other side of the mountain range. Now, if we were to imagine ourselves zooming in from this map to the city itself, we could do such a thing like that, and we would see that this city, as we were flying down towards it, is built into the foothills. It is a city of wealth disparity and corruption. In the foothills, we have the manors of the nobles, as well as the northern part of the city, which is slightly more well-to-do. To the south of the river, we have the area that has mostly come into slums. As we fly up through the slums and we go across the river, we might fly past the militia HQ in the centre. We might even see the infamous Inspector Sands through a window with his shotgun and chemical flasks, ruining the fact that he has to deal with nobles all the time. We might fly past the Halfling Quarter, with the streets still decimated from the burnings put upon it to root out the vampire infestation of 3 months ago. We would then go towards an unassuming building, just in the middle, not too far from the militia HQ, and as we would go through it, we would see it is an unassuming building. It would be the offices of one Joanna Abel, a criminal profiler for the militia. Now, if we were to go through, we would notice that it is a Spartan place with very, very functional in terms of the equipment there required for her to do her job. But if one was to look closely, you would notice some kind of hidden bookcase, a hidden room behind the bookcase one could go down to. It is to that room we cast our attention. For sitting in the safe house are 4 people standing around a table, and on that table is a body. Now, this is where we meet our heroes, the heroes of Fourspires, because in Fourspires, the Pathfinder Society, the usual society that would provide adventurers to help with all kinds of wrongdoings, is banned. In fact, it is illegal to have adventuring activity, which is why all the heroes of this city are vigilantes, and 4 of them are standing around this table. Now, if we start with the top left, and everyone can go around and describe kind of what their characters kind of, there's a brief description of the physical description and just kind of what they're doing as they're standing around this laid out body on a slab, and kind of how they're coming into this session. If we could start with Joanna.
Okay, Joanna is standing by the body. She's just had the prognosis through, has conducted some initial examinations and ascertained that the rib cage of the body has been opened. Joanna is a slight woman. She's clothed in black. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. It's whatever you want. It's whatever you say is basically what's happening. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Somebody else, please.
Okay, that's good. No, sorry, I started from the top left there just because it was logical to me, and I forgot that you were slightly newer to this, so I apologise for throwing you straight into the fray there. Dante, can we go next to you?
Okay. Just a quick question. I'm assuming, are we in every everyday just guy? Just like a normal bloke,
Civilian at
or
the moment, as
civilian?
my assumption. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, you've got all. Everyone's kind of got. Sorry, just for also the people on the stream. The vigilantes have a dual kind of guise mechanic. So you have your civilian guise, your everyday kind of your clothing, and then you have your vigilante identity, which is obviously got a mask and costume and various other things. I think everybody's got either a handy haversack or some kind of other ability that allows their costume to come to them quickly, so we can do quick changes and things like that. So if you have any items that are usually used in your vigilante guise at this point, you're all amongst friends here after the incident with the burning of the Halfling Quarter 3 months ago. As we all know, quite a kerfuffle happened as a result of that. So everyone is currently aware of each other's identities, just because vampires tearing off people's masks to get at people's necks, and the fact that everyone's kind of healed up at Dante's church afterwards, and everyone kind of knows who they all are. And about 3 months ago, this happened. Everyone's was a little bit hesitant at first with knowing each other's identities, but it's gone pretty well. And this is another example of when the groups come together to try and solve a larger problem. I sent out individual pieces, information brackets to everyone before the session of what they're aware of personally before deciding to come together on this. So that's probably something that's going to come up during the investigation. If you're currently in civilian guise, if you have any items that's normally part of your disguise, like any kind of goggles or gloves that you want to use the magical use of, feel free. You can get them out without needing to worry about that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just standing there, wearing simple like priest robes, and he's just looking over the body some more. He's just speaking to the group, telling them about his initial investigations, asking some of the people, the members of his church, for information, and he's found out a name. This is the corpse that we found, right?
This is not the corpse that you recognise. No.
Oh, this is not the corpse from the elf.
No. Sorry. Allow me to clarify. This
else.
is a corpse that. This is a corpse that's lying on the table. It appears to be a half-elven woman with her ribcage splayed open as if like the jaws of a bear trap.
Right,
There
okay,
is
okay.
a relatively clean wound in the chest. If any of you have come across any other bodies in your own investigations, it might be worthwhile bringing this up. Everyone's aware that there's been this is part of a series, but each person has their own individual take on what's going on there. So if you want to share that information, that might be useful. As far as you can tell, this was a body that came. This looks relatively recent.
And the manner of death, does it look similar to the one that I found previously that you told me about?
Well, are you asking me as a GM, or are you asking the rest of the group?
I'm asking both. Well,
Okay.
As I don't know, you told me it was unpleasant.
This looks a lot cleaner. Do you want to just talk about the body that you've seen, Dante, and just see if that keys off anyone else?
Me and my good half-orc friend over there. Yeah.
Hello.
We found the corpse in the street of a high elf woman. Equally, the death was a lot gruesomer. Like it was equally gruesome, let's say. And a lot like messier. This kill was a lot cleaner. We did some initial investigations. We found out a name. Her name was Arabella Quellar. She was cast out by her family for unknown reasons. But she's been making a life here in Fourspires, and for some reason, a competitor of hers basically screwed her over, and she was blacklisted from her place of business.
Indeed. Going on to Medak, the half-orc that you referred to. Do you want to give us a little brief overview of your character, Larton?
Yep. So Medak is a very charismatic half-orc who's the foreman for construction at this specific moment for the theatre in the Halfling Quarter. and this body is completely different to, as Dante said, what he saw, which was the entire torso, like the high elf. It was a complete melted torso, but the head and arms are still quite white.
Yeah, there was quite a lot of horrible viscous liquid, like all over the entirety of the torso. It's like it was partially melted. It was very pungent in the air as well in this particular one, not least because it had been left outside for a little while at the time.
I think that's about it.
And our half-elven gentleman,
Hello.
all this. Hello.
Is that I'd imagine Alistair is standing there with his Deathwatch goggles on. Not in normal attire, right enough. Can he see if this is similar to the corpse he found a few days ago?
Sure. Do you want to go over briefly what you found in your investigation, or do you want to do that after you've had a look at this? Or are you just going to?
I'll do that after I've had a look at this.
Okay, absolutely. Do you want to give me a perception check? First roll of the game.
Oh God, first roll of the game. Fuck. I'll find that in a minute. Perception.
It is about halfway through. Okay, right.
Oh, sorry, that's my Star Wars character. We'll roll with it.
Okay, sure. An 11. You'll note that at this point, Alistair has pulled on what describe the Deathwatch goggles?
Basically, they are like, I'm not quite sure how to describe them. It's like two pairs of goggles, except one of them has a red eye, and the other is completely black, just completely blacked out. And the red eye is the one that has the ability to detect life. And looking at this body, am I able to perceive if it has any necromancy going on?
Well, as you recall, you saw some interesting things regarding the residue on the body that you'd seen.
Yeah.
Looking at this looks a lot cleaner. It looks a similar type of wound, but there is the one that you'd seen was slick inside with the residue that was looking so strange within your Deathwatch goggles. As you peer in, at first you can't see any at all, but just as you are sighing and are about to look away, you actually catch just a faint glint of something in the bottom. It's almost fading out, but yes, there is some kind of similar residue to the one you were seeing before, except this looks a lot cleaner.
Okay, well, I imagine...
Than the one you saw from 2 days ago.
Then I imagine Alistair's not looking very impressed, and he is fiddling the bullet around his neck between his thumb and his finger.
Okay.
So what is it that you found in it? In the body? Like
Traces of necromancy that I can detect through my goggles.
I love necromancy.
It's specifically, it's not just necromancy. It's some kind of. Normally, the goggles, when they show necromancy, just show death. This is a very specific and kind of unique trait that you've not really seen before. There's some kind of life magic mixture of this necromancy. It's very strange, and you've not seen it before. From seeing this and from seeing the one you'd seen before, there will certainly be a link between these two.
Hmm.
Now,
Examining the wound in the body, can Joanna observe, based on what Alistair has given her in terms of information, can she observe whether this injury is more precise than the previous one, whether this attacker or assailant is acting in a more practiced manner?
You absolutely could try and attempt that. If you could give me, assuming that Alistair passes on the information.
Yeah, I imagine I would have said necromancy at work here.
Yeah, exactly. So if you could make a heal check for me, please. There, Joanna.
Okay. How?
All right. So if you look at the skills section, of your